What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, it's that time of the week again where we get you ready for the weekend with a brand new coil build. So I've got a fun one for you guys today. This is something that I've been seeing all over Instagram and Facebook, and it's basically the modern day stovetop coil. Now, I personally haven't messed around with stovetop coils in quite some time, so I just kind of wanted to stretch my, legs again a little bit and just kind of experiment and try something different, and hopefully this whole thing works out. But this is going to be the Fuse Clapton stovetop coil, which is pretty darn cool of a concept if you ask me. But I really can't wait to get into this one, so go ahead and grab your mod, your tools, your wick, your wire, your addy, your juice, all that good stuff. Let's go down to the close-up view and build it up. Alright guys, as you can see, today we are going to introduce our brand new Fresh Build Friday mat, which I'm excited to share with you guys. If you want to get one of these for yourself, just head on over to vapemats.com. I'll just throw a link in the description and use my coupon code DailyVapeTV for 15% off everything on vapemats.com. With that being said, we've got our coil jig rig V2, Clapton jig rig, whatever you want to call it. And today we're going to be using some of this stuff here. This is Mad Rabbit 26 gauge stainless steel wire. And we're also going to be using stainless steel 36 gauge as well. But then again, those kind of specs are kind of up in the air. If you wanted to use 24 gauge, you can use 24. But I'm kind of shooting for the lowest resistance possible on a single coil. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started by making ourselves some Fuse Clapton wire. Alright, so here is the Fuse Clapton wire that we just made. Now let's go ahead and get started with this build. Alright, so the interesting thing with this build here is we're actually going to be using this outer piece to our jig, but we're not going to be needing this little screw thing. So they actually come with a tool, if you have the Coil Master kit, for taking this piece out. So we're just going to remove this screw real quick. And once that's out, you'll notice that this thing fits pretty much flush against the actual bit part. Now, I'm using a 2mm bit today because I tried this earlier with a 1.5mm and it was pretty flimsy, so I kind of wanted something with a little bit bigger, chunkier bit on there, and I feel like this will work. Now, I'm also going to kind of give this a little bit of tweakage here with my pliers. You got to be kind of gentle because I don't want to screw up those wraps, but just kind of going to get that one started a little bit. Just give it a friendly little nudge there to kind of start off that coil. All right. So now that we got that, I'm just going to try my best to get this wire nice and flat for me. And the good thing about stainless steel is it's fairly rigid, so I shouldn't have a problem with this stuff twisting all around. But I guess we'll have to wait on that and see what the outcome looks like. Now, basically the main goal with this part here is that we're going to be just kind of wrapping around itself. Just like a normal stovetop coil, you want that one big kind of flat piece of wire. So hopefully this works out, and yeah, hopefully we don't have to make a whole new strand and start all over again. So let's give it a shot. So as you can see here, it's not the tightest stovetop it could be, so I'm going to try to fix it up once I install it. I feel like I can maybe get some leverage in there and tug on this negative lead real quick, and maybe that'll help a little bit, but I think it looks pretty good for minimal effort, I guess. So let's just bring in our mod real quick, and we'll start off this build. So first thing I'm going to do is straighten out the wire on this side here. I'm going to try to kind of start what I was talking about, just kind of pulling it a little bit tighter. Might actually have to add an extra wrap on there, but I don't know. I think that's pretty good. I think that'll give us the resistance and the surface area we're looking for. So yeah, let's just attempt to now get this coil off of here without damaging it too much. And I do have my Teflon pliers, but I just can't seem to get under there. So I think if we just grab it like that, maneuver it a little bit. Ooh, it wants to come out, but I just really don't want this thing to go flying. This is a tricky one, guys. Oh, almost there. Starting to really screw it up now, though, so there we go. All right. Whoa. So hopefully I can get this installed without too much further frustration. I think what I'm going to do is continue this wrap around to the other side, because I think we lost a wrap in there in the fray. So we're just going to wrap this one around one more time before we finish this thing off. And that looks pretty good to me. I guess we didn't have to bring our mod in so quickly, but whatever. And, oops. Yeah, not bad. I'm just going to wing it from here. So, yeah, just bring that wrap around, and then I think we'll just turn it so slightly like that. And we might have to clean this up a little bit with our pliers, but that looks pretty good. All right, now we can bring the mod in and start our install here. So I'm just going to leave this lead long for right now. And we're going to thread this piece through. There we go. And then thread this piece through like that. Now here comes the tricky part. Aligning this coil so it doesn't hit the top cap, but it doesn't lose its form. So I'm just going to try to get this bit installed again so I can have a little bit of tension to tug against here. And it really doesn't want to work for me. So, and try to thread it through a little bit more. Try not to put too much pressure on it at the same time, you know. Oh, okay. So if it's aimed like that, it tends to go in a little bit easier. Well, it's a goofy looking coil, and it just doesn't seem to want to work. But when there's a will, there's a way. We will get through this. Just give me 1 second off camera and I'll see what I can do. Jump cut, and well, look at that. I think we've got a pretty decent looking coil now. It's still a little bit looser than I would have liked, but I'm sure there's a better way to do this that I don't know about. So if you guys got some tips, or if you decide to do this build for yourself, let me know how it worked out for you, because I'm really curious. But moving forward, yeah, I guess the next step would be to trim off the extra wire here. So we're going to do that. Boom. And boom. And I've got enough here. If I want to do another coil, I can, but I'm thinking I'm going to have enough difficulty with just one for now. So let's just try to make that one work. Turn on our mod. We're going to turn it down to our standard, like 40 watts. And we'll see what she ohms out to real quick. So as of right now, we're clocking in right at 0.23 ohms. I'm starting it off at 40 watts like I normally do. And we're just going to try to straighten this thing out and hopefully get some color to this coil real quick. And this is probably one of the most difficult coils to kind of tune because it's very, very unpredictable. So I'm just doing very short bursts, just trying to basically temper the coil and hopefully get that wire a little bit more neatly organized when it's got a little bit of heat to it. But hopefully you guys can see the colors happening in there. That's pretty wild. I love stainless steel just for that reason right there. That's pretty cool. Now we're getting some good heat going to that coil. Still working out a few little minor hot spots, but those should kind of work themselves out pretty soon. This is such a weird one to mess around with because you really don't know exactly how it's going to work, but I like the look of it. It's pretty cool. Cool looking coil. And I'm expecting pretty decent performance. I mean, I've always loved messing around with those old stovetop coils, you know, a few years ago. And, you know, what better way to switch it up a little bit than with a fuse clapped in. All right, let's try for the next wattage test here at about 65. Yeah, that looks good to me. Might be about where we max it out. Let's go up to about 80 watts. That might be the sweet spot for this single coil here. Still getting a little minor hot spot, but yeah, that looks good to me. Just want to make sure it stays in its original shape here. Just kind of force it back, let it cool with your tweezers still on it. And that'll help keep its shape. So that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and try wicking this thing. All right, it's the moment of truth. Let's see if this thing fires up. Hey, there it goes. Not bad, if I do say so myself, for a single coil. Really can't complain. All right, let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the build section of the video. Now let's talk about the monstrosity that we just created. And I gotta tell you, it's really nice to just be able to break free of that standard coil wrapping boringness that you go through day in, day out. Every single week you're wrapping the same old coils. And just to be able to kind of, you know, let the creative juices flow. And that is definitely what we did here today. And I gotta tell you, so far it's working out quite well. I'm pleasantly surprised by this one. So with that being said, the final resistance came out to 0.21 ohms. I'm rocking it at 80 watts at 4.11 volts. So a little bit on the warmer side, I guess, for a single coil, but I have the Goon right now wide open in single coil mode, so there's only one airflow section open right now, and it's kind of nice. The heat on this one, which is our first category as always, is pretty good. It's about, you know, a warm-ish, kind of hot-ish sort of vape. It's right up there at the high end of warm, the low end of hot, I guess you could say. But definitely for a single coil, it's on the warmer side. But with that, it's very enjoyable. It's just a generally kind of pleasant vape to behold here. And our second category, which is the ramp up and the ramp down time, the ramp up time is almost instantaneous. I get maybe a quarter to a half a second before it really gets firing up here, but I gotta say, the ramp up and ramp down time are very enjoyable as well. I mean, very little wait time before you get that full-on draw, and the ramp down time isn't bad as well. Let's go ahead and have a drag on this thing, and we'll check out the ramp down time. So I'm getting about a 2 to 3 second ramp down time, which is pretty much average, I would say. It's definitely decent, and with this amount of wire going on in one coil, yeah, it's pretty much to be expected there. So with that, it goes from you know, full-on sizzle, and it's kind of a crackly sizzle, which is weird, but it goes from a full-on sizzle down to almost nothing in the span of 2 to 3 seconds, which is totally good in my book. I'm very happy with that, and I think it kind of has something to do with the wicking technique. I feel like I had the two leads kind of closer together. So what I did, I kind of did a figure 8 pattern almost. I went in and under the bottom side of the first lead, and then tuck that cotton up and over the other side, and then I did the same thing on the other side there. And when you put juice in there, it just kind of melds everything all together, and it makes it kind of squish up against the back of that coil, and that's what really makes it so that it doesn't have hot spots or anything like that. But with that, I think I'm getting about, you know, 4 or 5 drags before I have to re-wick it or re-drip it, which is perfectly fine in my book. So my third category is the difficulty of this build. Honestly, it's not that bad. I was expecting way worse. I got to tell you, when I first was going to install that coil, I was a little bit nervous there that it wasn't going to work out at all, and I was going to have to scrap this video. But again, I'm very happy with the way this one came out. After you get that second lead in there and you get it a little bit tightened up, and it starts kind of coming into shape there, that's when you really get excited about the final product of the build, which it's not that bad. If you can handle a fuse clapped-in wire, or you have a jig like me, it's really not that hard. Mine was not perfect. By no means was mine perfect. Obviously, if I spent a lot more time with this thing and, bent up those leads a little bit better and just kind of made it look nicer, I could, have probably even a better experience of this one. But for, the time I had to build this thing, and for being only the second time I've ever built this specific one, not bad at all, I gotta say. And finally, my final category is the flavor. Flavor on this one is surprisingly good as well. I mean, it's a fuse clapped-in, and I've told you guys time and time again, fuse clapped-ins are my favorite coil, of all time. So fuse clapped-in wire, I just feel like it's just the wire itself. Fuse clapped-in wire is like a godsend for vapors. I love it. And not only that, you're getting the flavor off of stainless steel wire, which in my opinion is really, really good as well. So for you guys out there that love stainless wire, this is almost a must to try out. And I feel like it's even low enough that you could probably put it on a mechanical mod and you're going to have a pretty good experience with it too. So there you go. That's all I pretty much have to say about that. Again, if you guys want to get my Fresh Build Friday vape mats, they are available right now on vapemats.com. Use the coupon code DailyVapeTV for 15% off anything on vapemats.com. So check it out there. Links are in the description. That about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Of course, leave me comments in the box below about what you think of the build, or whether or not you want to try it out for yourself, or anything like that. I'd love to talk to you guys down there. Of course, check out my links that I have in the description. I've got advocacy and my social media links, so check them out down there. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and as always, vape on!